Hello everyone, this is Kiran. This is a video for educational purposes and for the sake of future employees, just to show them how to go about work. So, due to confidential and privacy issues, I will not be able to mention some names and I will use dummy values. So, we'll get started and look at the nature of the business, or rather what the business entails. So, this business is about transformers. So we have two different companies. The parent company, which is located in India, this will refer to as Transformers International Limited. This deals with the supply of new transformers. And we have the company that is located in Nairobi, which is a subsidiary company of Transformers International. This is called Transformers Kenya Limited, which deals in repairing of faulty transformers. So let's look at the processes for Transformers International. So it all starts from here, from the factory in India in Bathinda. Here is where the new transformers are manufactured, and after manufacturing, at this process we have 5 documents which we are provided with, which include the invoices, the packing list, the delivery notes, and the certificate of conformity. So once they are manufactured and packed, they're sent to Ludhiana Dry Port, which is via rail, and it goes to Mumbai after that, which is a seaport. And at this point we get the bill of lading, which completes the 5th document. So once it's at Mumbai, the documentation is done, and it takes about 2 weeks to reach at the Mombasa port. Now from here it takes about a week and a half to clear all the paperwork so that it can now be delivered to the relevant destination. So for instance, if it's a delivery for Mombasa, it will go directly to the Mombasa stores. But if it's a delivery for Nairobi or for Nakuru stores, it has to pass through the factory, so it can undergo some inspection just to check for any faulty transformers so they can be rectified. So once we have told the clearance agents to now deliver them at a particular delivery destination, it's now delivered, and once it is delivered, KPLC will take these for some certain inspection. Now there are 2 types of inspections. There's a physical inspection and there's a workshop inspection. Now once it goes through these inspections and it fails, it's taken back to the factory and repaired and taken back to the KPLC place for inspection. And if it's on pass, we provide with the invoice and delivery. So for the delivery, it has to go through GRN process. Once it passes the GRN process, it goes to procurement. The invoice will directly go to the procurement, and this is where the field work will begin. So this is where now we have to follow up for payments, for different processes, for just ensuring that the entire process finishes. So we ensure that it goes from process 1 to process 2 and till the end. So once in procurement, it is taken to finance. So it is verified and checked that things are fine, and finally it is paid. It goes to the bank and it's finally paid. So we'll not get into much details about the documentation because I just want to give an overview of the work. So what does the daughter company do? It deals with faulty transformers. Now, faulty transformers around the country are collected and are taken to the yard of KPLC, which is located in Roysambu. Now, once at Roysambu, for instance, we will now collect these faulty transformers. We take them to our factory. Now, they're taken to our factory and they're inspected and checked for faults. So it can easily be repaired depending on what fault it is. So it is repaired and it's taken to the KPLC stores. At this point, KPLC inspects these transformers. Now, if it doesn't pass the inspection, it is taken as fail, and it goes back to the factory. It's checked for faults, repaired, and then it's delivered back. It's inspected again, and it now passes. We provide invoice and delivery. It goes to procurement, is taken to finance, and finally it goes to the bank and we're paid. Now the raw materials to do this, they also come from India. Now at what point do the raw materials come in? Now during the time when they are releasing these new transformers in the containers, the raw materials are put into the containers so that it can now go and it can reach our factory, so that now we can use those raw materials to repair these transformers. Okay, now from all these processes, now we have to prepare reports. Now since the reports are very bulky and quite repetitive and redundant, in terms of you have a report which will entail the same details and just give you a report of one thing. So this is a combination of many reports into one to make it simpler and less bulkier. For instance, now you have the name of the company, you have the tender number, and you have different lots. Now these lots they mean the containers. For instance, you have maybe lot 1 EX003. EX is the invoice number. Now this particular container is carrying transformers of ratings maybe 111 kV. Maybe this is the quantity it's carrying, 15, and this is the serial number. So you have right from the start, this report shows you the entire process right from the start till the end. So for example, you have when it left Bathinda, you have when it left Ludhiana, and then finally Mumbai. Then you have Mombasa port. You have now the destination where these transformers will be taken to. You have the dates when it is delivered. You have the physical inspection. You have the workshop inspection. And speaking of these inspections, you have now the quantity that have passed, the quantity that have failed. You have the reason as to why it had failed. Then there's a process of the GRN, as I mentioned earlier. It goes through the GRN process and it's passed. It goes to the procurement. It goes to the finance. And now once it's there, since we provided the invoice and all, so you have the invoice number, you have the invoice amount, and you can probably have the date when it was paid, and you can have remarks, maybe something important to note about that particular lot. So now that one container had failed in this particular container, now we add another line now for the lot. We have one quantity at this point. We have the serial number of the transformer that had failed. Of course, other details are just the same, so we don't need to change them. Now at this point is when now we have this slight change in when it will be inspected and all that. You have now it finally passes after it's rectified. Now once it's rectified, it goes through the entire process as the first one, and it's given another invoice. This is now split because they're now of the same container, so the invoice number will be split into A or B, and the process continues. The good thing about this report is you will have a total of pass transformers, total of failed transformers. You will have the total value of invoices, how much is paid, how much is pending, whether it's in high seas or not. Now we're moving on to the repaired company. Now this is a sample report. So basically we will have the invoice numbers, we'll have when it was invoiced, we'll have the status, we'll have the quantity, we'll have the invoice amount, and now we'll have the invoice. At times they're paid at once, at times they're paid in one. Depending on that, they're combined. You have a total. For instance, this is combined with this. you get this total. Now maybe you pay this amount because of course they have the taxes and all that. You have the withhold amount and all that. You have the date when you receive the payment. Now we also have the totals over here. For instance, you have the total quantity, you have the total invoice amount, total invoice and all that. You can also find the amount that is due. For instance, you can have the balance. So over here you can have the total amount minus paid amount minus that. So you can have different calculations accordingly. And yeah, you can also, now for the sake of this, you can also know the stocks, and you can know which rating is mostly repaired. So, or what ratings is the company good at in repairing terms. Yeah, so we have this report. So you have the production schedule, that's what I will call it. So you have different ratings as this. You can have 5011, 5033, 111, 133 and so on. So we can have the invoice numbers, the invoice dates. You can have the delivery numbers according to the invoices. You can have now maybe 5 of 5011s were repaired, maybe 4 of 133 were repaired, 1 of 31511 was repaired, and 2 of this. So you have a total of 12. So the same for the next invoice number, and the same for the next invoice number, which now you can now have totals of different ratings. For instance, 5011 you have a total of 13, 5033 you have a total of 9, and so on. Now you can get the total amount of repaired by calculating the total of this. You get 130, which is this. I'll just highlight that. And you can have the same amount when you calculate the total from here. So basically what you're getting from here is a total amount of these transformers that are repaired. So now from the results we can see that the ratings that was repaired the most is 211. Because of the total it's 41. The least one was the 315.33 because it's 0, and the 630.33, which is also 0. So from here we can know that these two ratings were not rectified, or rather repaired, maybe because it wasn't there in the yard of KPLC, it wasn't picked up, or other reasons. So that's not a problem, but at least you have an overview of the transformers. So this was it for this video. Kindly comment on things to improve, innovative ideas you might be having. Like my video, and thanks for watching.